Welcome, beautiful people. It's your TTA Pro, Mr. O, back with a language, grammar, writing, whatever you want to call it, episode. Today, we'll be talking about transitions, and we're going to be discussing with regards to transitions, the different types of transitions and strategies for transitions. Transitions are critical to understand. They require or they test your ability to be able to identify relationships between sentences. Now, this might sound easy. However, with the added stress of time and pressure, you might have a bad time. So this is why it's critical for us to actually review different types of transitions and actually see the real meanings of them. We're going to cover most of them, hopefully the 3 categories, and then we're going to cover practice and examples. This explanation will take about 10 minutes or so. And if you're watching the video, please, after the video, jump into practice. So like we said today, what will we be doing, beautiful people? We will define different transitions, identify the categories, identify meanings of transitions, and apply the lesson to all questions. So let's look at an example right here. And, let me actually zoom in a little bit. Oops, it's a bit too much. Right, so here, for example, I want you guys to look at example 1, example 2, and example number 3. May's cookies are sugary and sweet. Sam eats them well. May's cookies are sugary and sweet. Therefore, Sam eats them all. May's cookies are sugary and sweet. Nevertheless, Sam eats them all. I want you to realize the effect of the transitions here, right? If you look at example number 1, well, there's no transition, so don't really focus on example number 1. But if you look here at example number 2, therefore and nevertheless, I want you to notice that the transition not only connects ideas, but it also gives the ideas meaning. And if you analyze these 2 examples, we see, well, because the cookies are sugary and sweet, Sam eats them all. We can understand Sam likes sugary and sweet cookies. However, if you look at example number 3, nevertheless gives us another totally different meaning altogether. Because the cookies are sugary and sweet, which is a bad thing, nevertheless, Sam eats them all. So although or despite the cookies being not that, good, too sugary, too sweet, Sam still eats them all. So I want you to notice they connect ideas and they also complete the meanings of these ideas. So like we said here, transitions, they not only connect, they also give the ideas a meaning. Okay, cool. So what do you need to look for with regards to transitions? You sometimes can figure them out naturally. If you're a good reader, if you read a lot, if you have a lot of exposure, but your main job is to understand context of the sentences and the author's meaning, right? That's really important. Don't underestimate these questions because they can be very difficult. And of course, each question counts, correct? So here, rules, guidelines, and the location on the map. So this item won't be for you guys, right? When grammar and punctuation are correct, look at the meaning. This won't be for you guys. Okay, so when you see transition, cross out and remove any bias. Again, when you guys have the sentence, it'll be a blank. So again, not for you guys. Number 2, they don't go by sound, they go by meaning. And this is a really annoying part. You just don't choose an answer based on how that answer sounds. That's not what we do. When we choose a transition, it needs to go by what the meaning of that transition is and how that meaning affects the sentence. So never go by what it sounds like. You always go by the actual meaning itself. Number 3, reread this sentence or sentences. This is normal. Read sentence number 1 and then read sentence number 2. And after that, what I want you guys to do is find out the relationship between the 2 sentences. So what do we mean by relationship? Is it a and relationship? Is it a or relationship? Is it a but relationship? Is it a so relationship? What kind of relationship do we have between the 2 sentences? So what I like to do after this, I like to look for either similar or contrasting ideas. For me, this is the easiest one. For me, obviously, you guys will develop your own special ways. However, for me, I look for, are they similar ideas or are they contrasting ideas? Because cause and effect, again, for me, is a bit ambiguous. So I begin with, well, are they contrasting? This is the easiest one, right? If no, are they similar? Well, then again, if no, then do we have a cause and effect? Now, with regards to similar transitions, if there's similar ideas, so idea number one, idea number two, the relationship is and between them, there's similar ideas. What do? Eliminate contrasting transitions. And if the synonyms, right, again, if you're given synonyms as answers, so for example, we have as an answer, however, and we also have the answer contrastingly. You can eliminate these two, right? Similar transitions eliminate one another. They're redundant answers. So it's another strategy we can use to answer transitions. And then always avoid double transitions. You can only have one transition / conjunction in a sentence. Just make sure you're aware of that because you never know, the test makers might make this. Let's talk about the three categories, right? I want to rush through this so we can practice together. So category number one are continuous transitions and base transitions. Category number two are cause and effect transitions. So category number three are contradictions or opposite transitions. But so like we said before, when you read the two sentences, you need to identify, well, what is the category of each sentence, or what is the category between the two sentences? What is the relationship? Do I have an and relationship, so, or but? And this will make it easier for you to solve. So let's go over the continuous transitions. I'm going to just go over common continuous transitions so that way you can have an understanding of what they're about. They could add information, introduce examples, emphasize key points, or elaborate on preceding ideas. This is what continuous transitions do. So here, for example, for instance, this is the number one most common. This is the number one most common transition that you'll find. So when we're talking about an example, for instance, they take a piece of the previous sentence and give you a specific detail about that sentence. I think we'll have examples or no? Did I write examples for this? Maybe I got lazy. No, I didn't, unfortunately. So again, they give us a relevant piece of information. It supports previous information. And we said they're the most frequent continuers that are tested on the exam. Now, again, for example, it literally takes a piece from the previous sentence and gives us more information about that. For example, Malak is a great student. For example, she studies art, right? So we took this portion, a great student, and we gave more detail about how she is a great student. In fact, indeed, in particular, emphasize. They make an idea important. So I want you guys to remember this one right here. Number three, in addition, also, moreover, furthermore, besides. These first four, add a second example. There's already an example in the sentence. These first four, add another example to it. Besides, adds an alternative. Now, with regards to older rules, besides was always wrong, but I won't take this for now, right? With regards to the first four, they add another example. Similarly, likewise, by the same token, they all mean in the same way. They continue an argument by making comparison between 2 points. So for example, you're saying A is equal to B whenever you use any of these three. Subsequently, a lot of people, international students specifically, have a problem with this. This shows something that follows logically. It literally means next or after or what comes next. So this is a sequence of events. Subsequently means the next one. So these were the continuers. I'm going to jump through all of these examples because we're going to practice more specific examples. Contradictory transitions. These are the but transitions. They introduce a contradiction. Now notice this, it doesn't just have to be a contradiction. They can also introduce a limitation, a conflicting idea, or an alternative. All of these are with the but-based transitions. Again, contradiction, limitation, conflicting idea, or alternative. And we'll see examples when we work together. The most common, however, although. However is a transition, although is a conjunction. Just don't forget that. So however is used with two independent ideas, right? Although is used with a dependent idea and an independent idea. I mean, it doesn't really matter with transition questions because you'll have the options in front of you. These signal an exception. However is the most common contradictory word, right? Most answers, if you have a contradiction, will be however. Keep this in mind. Instead means a replacement, in place of, a substitute. Okay. What else do we have here, beautiful people? Oh, conversely, contrast. On the other hand, this is a total reversal of the previous idea. So the previous idea, we're talking about the color black. Conversely, we'll talk about the color white. Despite, it goes against something. Despite your excessive pestering, I'll help you out. Despite my love for you, I cannot help you. So despite means you going against the natural grain of something. Nonetheless, nevertheless, notwithstanding, it shows a surprise result, usually in the negative positive context. That means idea number one would be positive, idea number one will be negative, while idea number two will be positive. It shows a surprise outcome. Alternatively means another option. So these were the contradictors. I'm going to go through these examples because they're outdated. Cause and effect. Let's go to this. These are the least used transitions with regards to all of them, right? And they're not many. So cause and effect mean so. Consequently, therefore, thus, hence, to these ends. They also mean so, right? You should be able to substitute with as a result. Consequently and therefore are the most common two. Doesn't mean they're correct, but if you have cause and effect, these would probably be your answers. And finally, accordingly, right? Accordingly means to adjust logically to a situation, to adjust appropriately to a situation. Now, we finished looking at these. Now, of course, lots of talking, right? Lots of talking. We're going to practice some examples right now. Number one, what I need you to do is I need you to read the two sentences, right? Read the two sentences. This is your first step. And then number two is you need to decipher the relationship. Now, again, what are the relationships between the three? And, but, so. So decide which one is it. Number three, eliminate answers that don't follow the relationship you chose. So you should know the answer before looking at the answer choices. You should have an idea of the answer. Never never look for answers for help. Okay. And then number four, you narrow down your options. Do you beautiful people have any questions before we go into practice? Okay, if you're watching the video, jump to practice. You can learn anything, Mr. 7 out.